That's really weird. I'm just going to refresh it, I guess.
We are live. Here you go. Today we're talking about full moon. We're talking about Summerland. We're talking Riesling at Cap Franc. So can you tell me what we're talking about? Woohoo! Canadian wine lovers, Carl's Wine Club members, Mira Boucher. It's
Carl
5 o'clock.
Boucher.
It's 5 o'clock Pacific. It's Wednesday. We have a bunch of Canadian wines. Probably it means one thing. It's Wine Wednesday.
Yeah.
Welcome, welcome, welcome. Oh my God, I'm pumped. It's so cool. Sorry, I jumped into the intro. For some reason, it stopped spinning and we were live. So
There you
without
go. We're live. Yeah, I'm getting error. Link Instagram. Some of the platforms are having trouble tonight. All good. So, Carl Boucher, you brought me 2 glasses of red wine, which is great because I got to say something controversial, okay? In the summer, when it gets really hot, yeah, a nice bubbly, a nice white, a nice rosé, good sometimes. But you know what I usually want to go for on a hot day? A
a,
red.
gla- and a glass of Big Red.
A
And it's
big
been
red with some
you've
meat.
been You've been requesting that since the first day you started to really enjoying wine, and you always ask, "Is it weird? Is it normal?" And I always say, "It's not weird, but it's not really normal." Uh, yeah, Mira's been like that since she started to drink wine. She loves a glass of Big Red on a hot day. Go figured. But you know what? Like I told all of my staff that I trained over the year, all of the client, all of the staff training, all of the course that I taught, I always said one thing when we start. There is nothing wrong about your own personal rules in wines. There's a book. The books are for the pretentious. Your instinct and what you like, it's for yourself. If you love it, if you like a glass of Riesling with a steak, so be it. That's the best pairing for you. If you love a glass of big, bold Syrah on a 38-degree days, that's it. That's it. It's good for you. That's the perfect pairing. So I have no issue with that. So we're sharing 2 big, bold reds today, Mira. And these wines have been open for 10 days.
Yes.
I'm not joking. I was expecting some oxidation. There's not. I was expecting some left fading. They're not fading. I mean, it's
Oh my
it's fa-
God.
I
There's
know.
wow.
I know. So the first sip you have with your smaller glass is the Cab Franc, and now you're sipping on the Petit Verdot.
Oh, I got to tell you something. I mean, the Cab Franc, if you guys were here live with us last Wednesday, we opened and tasted all these bottles live, and I kept mixing up the reds. I was like, is this the Petit Verdot? Is this the Cab Franc? I don't know. The Cab Franc was stunning last week. Just stunning. 93 plus points you gave it, right? Totally deserves it.
Totally.
The Petit Verdot was very, very good. 92 points you gave it. I gotta say, a week after opening, so potentially like 7 years of aging later, it's really smoothed out from the last time I tasted it.
Oh, yeah. That wine's gonna look like that in close to a decade. That's funny to have that happening tonight. Uh,
Really.
uh, the Cab Franc is a 2021 vintage.
Okay.
It's a warm, hot vintage, pummeled pretty quick. At the end, at time of harvest, that was the the heat dome. It was fire, like forest fire. It was everything. This Cap Franc keeps freaking blowing my mind. How good it is. every time that I have a sip, and I feel like if I have an infinite bottle, like that bottle is like that we need to put like a sign on. It's the infinite bottle. Every time I pour wine, it feels there's more in the bottle. It's freaking weird. But anyway, I'm not complaining. I think it's the seventh time that I tasted that wine in the last 10 days. Every time it blows my mind. So
So
you know
good.
what? I am so comfortable with my 93 plus point. I freaking love it. Now, we're gonna talk about other wines later, but let's start because we talk about that. I first and foremost, I want to say hi to everyone who's tuning in right now. We are for people who don't know us. It is Mira of Mira's Wine Club. I am Carl of Mira's Wine Club, and it's because like this the YouTube channel, we have Instagram, we're all over the place. So we want to say hi. If you're tuning in right now, I want to know what's in your glass. I want to know where are you tuning from. So we have Lunessence Cab Franc and Lunessence Petit Verdot in our glass today. So welcome everyone. It's 8 o'clock Eastern time. It's 5 o'clock here Pacific. So Canadian wine lovers, we are freaking thrilled to have you all. And this week we're celebrating Lunessence Winery and Vineyards located on the Summerland Bench 5 minutes from our backyard here in Summerland. I mean, on the other side of the house, not behind me, because behind me it's an Ramada bench. When you're up at Lunessence, sitting on their patio, you have one of the most outstanding views of the Okanagan, and you're sipping your amazing Riesling, your beautiful Pinot Noir rosé, or if you're Mira, you're at 38 degrees, you're sipping on a Petit Verdot, and you are overlooking the Naramata Bench, right across from the Silva, right across from Tightrope, right across from Lake Breeze. So incredible, incredible view out there. So
So, hey, I got to do a quick recap of some of these amazing Canadian wine lovers are having tonight. You guys, such loyal Canadian wine lovers. Look at this. So, Stacy and Jeff, they're having Organized Crime 2021 Pipe Down. I don't know what that is. Maybe a blend. And Creekside Rosé in their glass tonight. Very nice. Niagara Gems. Daryl, another Niagara gem, 2018 Reserve Pinot Noir from Westcott. Westcott is right across from Siouan, where we just were with the Pan Canadian, and we feature them a few times. They are amazing for Pinot Noir and Chardonnay, which is why
looking
Daryl is
We
having.
are looking at featuring Westcott later in the
Oh yeah,
fall too. I had a conversation with Jessica and Carolyn at Westcott, and
wow.
we're looking at revisiting Westcott later on because we haven't featured them in over 2.5 years or something like that. So,
And
yeah.
Jim is apologizing in advance. He's not having a big red. I can forgive that, Jim. That's okay. I know. You're like most people, if it's summer and it's hot out, you're having a white, a bubbly, or a rosé. I got it. And for me too. The other day we had a beautiful the Lunessence Riesling. It was spectacular, chilled with some barbecued pork and some other stuff we had going on. It's perfect. But he's having the 2016 Cave Spring Vineyards Riesling, which
See, that's how experienced you are, Mira. Like even like the first letter doesn't bother you anymore. You just put it out. Like I mean, I've been looking at it and saying, what she's gonna say? Oh, that right out the gate, Cave Spring Vineyard. You're on it. Wow, that's my girl. That's my girl.
uh, which I liked. Like I don't know if we had the 2016 though, but we had a more recent vintage of the CSV Riesling, and it was really freaking good.
Always, always. And the CSV, it's my favorite line of Cave Spring. They have three or four different lines, like the Dolomites. They have the Estates. They have the CSV. Obviously, the CSV is the top of the line, but the 2016, it's
Yeah,
an absolute bomb. So James,
and
James is into a, solid, solid wine tonight.
yeah, tell us what you think, Jim. How it's showing right now. Wines are interesting, aren't they? Sometimes you have a stunning wine and you cellar it, and then once in a while we find a wine goes through a phase, don't we, Carl? So it might be stunning, 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 and then you taste it 2 years later and you're like, that's not how I remember it. but you keep leaving a few bottles in the cellar. Try it again 1 or 2 years later, and it's back to stunning. So sometimes people,
There's
wine
some lulls. There's some
they
lulls into
go
some
through
wine. They
phases.
go, yeah, they're going to dormant phase, and they feel like they're completely sleeping. The
Tracy
fruits.
is confirming that the CSV 2016 though was delicious, which is great news.
Oh, absolutely. And I have to say, so my brother is visiting us this week. So we have six little bouchers running around. It is like if the house is packed, we're 10, okay? Five of us plus five of my brother's family. It is action packed here at the Boucher house in Summerland. And my sister in law loves Riesling. That's her favorite type of wine that she likes to drink. So we kind of had a Riesling week, to be honest with you. And I mean, we had Lunessence, so we're featuring Lunessence. So we really, really, really enjoyed the Lunessence. How's my score? Can show it. I'm going to talk about a little bit more about it later during the show because it's one of my standout BC Riesling. So far, there's maybe the Anterre Riesling from Terra Vista, who knocked my socks off in April when I tasted that. But that Lunessence Riesling, it's probably one of the very top BC Riesling that I've tasted in a long time. Absolutely outstanding. We also had the Elevation Riesling that I brought back from our trip in Niagara from the Pan Canadian, and I thought I'm like, she's gonna love it and all that, and we forgot. Mira reminded me that that's the wine that we bought for them for their wedding last year. It's like, got it. They drank it, but we had a nice Elevation Riesling, and we also treated ourselves with one of the Pan Canadian wines with the Dobbin 2019 2020 Riesling.
That
So
was
we've
spectacular.
we've been sipping on pretty amazing Rieslings all week long here in Summerland. But I have to say that Lunessence Rieslings is sitting right there among the very best. Now, Mira, do you allow me to talk a little bit about the RS? Do you want me to table
Yes,
that
I do.
right now?
You have to give the report, okay? So, because Tracy and Jim are having the 2016 Cave Spring Vineyards Riesling, we need to know, okay? So Tracy's saying it was delicious. Jim's saying fully mature Riesling, apricot, petrol notes. Love those in a Riesling. But the palate is still alive and vibrant. It's great. Oh, that sounds amazing. I
That's
love
the phase of the Riesling, Mira, that I love the most. When the petrol, the kerosene comes out,
Yes,
but it's still vibrant and bright. That's
yes.
where these two components of age and vibrancy come and collide together. I
Hot.
fucking love it.
And you know what? We had experiences with this kind of thing when we got to taste back vintages of Sue Ann's Rieslings going back to what, 2008 or so. Some of you guys
Yeah.
have tasted
We
those.
had some 2004 too.
Yes, so good. And so, one thing I want to mention, and I think Jim and Tracy's Riesling extravaganza tonight with that 16 leads us straight into this discussion about RS, residual sugar and Rieslings. But Jeanette's just saying we didn't want to be left out, so we opened a 22 Lunessence Pinot Blanc, which again, we want to know how it's tasting, you guys, because we just tasted that last week, and it is in our feature, the 22 Lunessence Pinot Blanc. Carl gave it 92 points. It is in our feature. I'll put the link right here. It's 89% Pinot Blanc and 11% Semillon, which is I love that blend because I feel like the Semillon makes it pretty food friendly.
100% Mira. It's the Bordeaux blend, the white Bordeaux blend, but you replace the Sauvignon Blanc by the Pinot Blanc. So something like really unique that it's very Okanagan because Pinot Blanc grows very, very, very well here in the Okanagan. We have encountered a few wineries who make Pinot Blanc gracefully, aka Black Market Wine Company, which one of the best. Also Intersection. Also, there's a bunch who make some Pinot Blanc. But Lunessence take on this one, it's not only that they're blending it with a generous portion of Semillon, it's barrel fermented Semillon. So now you're adding another extra layer to it, which made that wine not it's approachable, but there's that complexity into it, that zing, that the Semillon brings some zing, but the barrel ferment bring an extra layers. The fruitiness of the Pinot Blanc is just like every time I swirl my glass in that one, I'm like, wow, this is freaking awesome. So yeah.
That's awesome. And Jeanette and Danny are enjoying the Pinot Blanc. So that's great to know. Smooth and full of flavor. A side note, you know who else makes a really good Pinot Blanc is Black Market Wine Company in Caledon. And guess what we're doing tonight? We are going there with Carl's brother and all six of the kids staying in my house right now, and Carl's brother's wife, and we're all going there because they have a really cool concert on site. So we might actually surprise you guys with a late night live from there from the concert. It's Rumor Mill, which is a great local BC band. Sold out concert, lots and lots of people in the vineyard. We got to remember, Carl, to bring our lawn chairs because it's not one of those concerts with.
Yeah, I piled them up here. So right after the live, I'm gonna take them to the car.
Yeah, Jeanette. So she's saying easy, the Pinot Blanc from Lunessence, easy to drink, but rich at the same time. And so I totally agree. When we tasted it, that's why we were like, this can be a really great food wine because it has that, and I think it's from the Semillon, it has that like depth, that richness, that kind of like backbone, right?
Mira, you are absolutely bang on that, and that's exactly, man, that you're getting good. We need to change the name of that business, baby. This is Mira's Wine Club. No, but that's exactly what I'm mentioning in my tasting notes. That Semillon barrel fermented, especially bring the richness into it. The mid palate, there's a weight on the mid palate to bring seriousness. But in the meantime, it's a quaffable wine. This wine has everything in that. Uh, how did I? There's so much structure and a great deal of seriousness, likely from the Semillon, making it the perfect food wine. So yeah, I mean, I had so much fun tasting that wine. 92 points. I mean, I'm not the only one. Natalie McLean gave it a 92 point as well. So this is part of our discovery pack, a $192 before tax discovery pack. But this is truly Okanagan.
Yeah.
Small, tiny producer producing small batch handcraft. No, it's not only handcrafted wine; it's foot trodden wine. Like there's not a lot of people who does that anymore.
No, no, and I mean we're having fun because it's like lunescence. It has lunar, like the moon in the name. They do some stuff that's biodynamic, which means they actually study like the way the moon affects the plants, which is a thing. And it's a full moon this week, so we're like, oh, nice timing to feature a winery that has
We plan all that. Come on.
right. But
Uh,
okay, so this is what I wanted to say though. Jim is saying with the 93 plus Cab Franc that we've tasted from Lunessence, one of the best Cab Francs from BC we've tasted in quite a long time, right?
yeah.
He's saying, could it be that Osoyoos is the next hotspot for Canadian Cab Franc? What do you think, Carl?
I mean, this is definitely the answer here. Osoyoos and Oliver, that sub-region past the McIntyre Bluff, absolutely. And like I've talked I talked to Richard De Silva about it, and Richard sources Cap Franc right there as well. Right there in Osoyoos. Mark Simpson also sources Cap Franc down there in Osoyoos. There's also another good spot to keep an eye on for Cap Franc, and it's Kermios. The Similkameen Valley is also a future hotspot for the Cap Franc. So we have so many amazing Cap Franc in Ontario, in Niagara, especially. Well, I love Niagara on the lake, and also like I mean the Beamsville Bench. We just tasted our Vineland Carl's Wine Club Cap Franc, but guess what? Like there's Cap Franc growing in Nova Scotia. Like Benjamin Bridge, I have some Cap Franc growing there. On the island, Vancouver Island, there's some Cap Franc out there. So is cap this is a question that we it's worth it to ask all of us in the Canadian wine industry. Is Cap Franc is truly the national red grape around across Canada. Maybe, if you ask me, I mean, I don't think there's a better answer than that, to be honest. Maybe Pinot, maybe. But if you ask me, I might go for Cab Franc. So, so yeah, that's a good discussion to have, and I think we should table that next year at the Pan Canadian. What do you think, Mira?
It would be a great discussion. I mean, Daryl's saying, "Well, back to Spain, haha." So, what are the big varietals in Canada? I mean, we do about, I think I read somewhere, maybe like 60 varietals, maybe more,
Yeah, that's not that. Yeah, I'm not surprised about that number.
right?
I'm not
Across
surprised at
Canada.
all.
But which ones have been prolific? Which ones can we say, okay, this can be
Ch-
truly world class?
Chardonnay.
Right. So I think definitely Chardonnay is right up at the top of this. And
Yeah.
Thomas Batchelder has a lot to do with that because he was the first, I believe, that said, let's look at Chardonnay, Pinot Noir, Gamay. Those are three of the varietals that, or at least Chardonnay and Pinot Noir, that really show the terroir and what the terroir is saying. And he took it to the next level because he's got like, oh, here's one block of Pinot Noir, and here's another one 20 feet away that I'm going to treat the same, but you're going to taste the difference because of what's in the dirt, basically. But I think those are the things, yeah. And Jim's saying Riesling, so I think though it's what Chardonnay, Pinot Noir, Cab Franc, Riesling. Those are the big ones in Canada, aren't they? Maybe Merlot too, though.
Yeah, but Merlot is not something that you hear from Ontario. Like it's only recently that the mostly the 4 Mile Creek appellation, mostly Niagara on the Lake.
Yeah,
So you have a small pocket, but it's more of a BC type of thing. Like you rarely encounter a bunch of Merlots from Niagara. You say this is one of the best. This is one of the best. This is one of the best. I mean, we can pinpoint Bellaterra, obviously Ferox, Stonebridge, maybe, but there's a very like a handful of producer who first and foremost want to work with Merlot in Niagara, and second that they make it world class. So I would not include Merlot as a nationwide type of grape. Riesling, absolutely. Do we make just BC known as just big? Well, Tantalus, yes, for sure. I mean, I just believe that BC producer just don't want to focus on Riesling. We have the potential. There's some outstanding Riesling producer, but it just I don't think it's the grape that Western Canada people enjoy drinking that much. So the producer are not producing a lot of it.
I do remember when we like the very first time we featured Riesling in Carl's Wine Club. It wasn't right away. It took quite a few winery features before we had our first Riesling, and I remember it was like a hard sell. It
Mm-hmm.
was like
Mm-hmm.
everyone was like, "What is this Riesling? Where's our big reds?" A lot of you guys like your big reds, I gotta say. In Carl's Wine Club, we've learned that.
But let's remember, 70% of our members were from Western Canada when we started. Alberta was our big pocket.
So we got more and more people out east that are more open to Riesling, more open to Chardonnay, Pinot Noir as well. Riesling rocks. Yeah, I agree, Daryl. And I think that's what we wanted to say, Carl, about the RS. So Riesling has a bit of a bad rap when it comes to wine lovers, and they're like, "Oh, I'm not a big fan of Niagara Riesling because I don't like sweet wine." I hear that, and I'm like,
Oh, I hear that a ton too.
"Yeah." I'm like, "What?" By the way, Jim nominates Cab Franc for National Red Grape. I tend to agree, in the sense that, yeah, I've tasted phenomenal Cab Franc from both sides of the country.
I
When
can
you're
hear I can hear Daryl thinking and like all
Not
the way from here.
Cab Franc, but we've converted him. I think. I think it's done. I think he's been converted. It's done.
Oh yeah, converted at the point that he's going to vote for Cab Franc for National Red Grape. I don't think so.
That would be a fun vote to have in Carl's Wine Club. But anyway, when it comes to Riesling, what's the thing about RS? Because early on in the club, it's happening less and less. But we did have a lot of people saying, "Oh, we're not into Riesling because we don't like sweet wine." And we've had a lot of conversations with wine lovers where like the RS does not always indicate how sweet a wine tastes. Like I remember Carl even got corrected by wineries because he'll do his tasting notes and we will say if it's dry or off dry or sweet based on the way it feels in your mouth, not based on the residual sugar. Most liquor stores you go to, okay, they have their little rating of how sweet a wine is,
It's on
and
the based on the numbers.
it's purely based on purely the residual sugar, which actually has nothing to do with how it tastes in your mouth. So a wine might have high residual sugar, but if the balance is there with the acid, it won't taste sweet. Right? Am I explaining that correctly, Carl?
Absolutely, 100%. You won't have that heavy candy sweetness because the acid lift everything up. That's the balance between the TA and the RS, residual sugar versus tartric acid. So if these numbers come and meet at the right spot, it doesn't. And we had that exercise at three different wineries over the weekend during the Pan Canadian weekend by asking the crowd, what's the RS you think in this bottle? And I remember, bless you, uh, asking the crowd at Vineland, asking on the elevation Riesling, what is the RS? And we had our answer among 35 people were going between 5.5 gram of residual sugar, all the way to someone said, I think it was 21 gram of residual sugar. And Brian said, yep, okay, this is 28.5. No one was even close. No one thought that that wine had that much RS. Why? Because the TA, the acid level is really high as well. So the sweetness of the RS and the brightness of the acid just match at the perfect point, which makes a fantastic wine. I mean, here what we have with Lunessence, it's a 8.4 gram of residual sugar. Obviously, if you put 8.4 gram of residual sugar on this on a Viognier, you feel like if you're drinking a freaking mango juice. But Viognier doesn't sustain the acid very well. It's not a grape varietal who have natural acid in there. So you keep your residual sugar very low to have a balance between the two. As Riesling is the grape varietal who can sustain the RS and the acid the best. So, I mean, the bone dry Riesling, I mean, there's nothing wrong with the bone dry Riesling. I just think that it's a little austere. I just think that it's hard to pair food with the bone dry Riesling. That's something who's harsh. It's something that's it's a punch in the face. And people like that, absolutely no problem with that. But to me, it's a little too austere. And I like what Brian Schmidt told me 3 years ago, and he said, Carl, as a winemaker, you need to have balls to live a bunch of RS in your Riesling. I mean, because you don't want to be scared to go on the sweet side, on the sweeter side, without having a sweet wine. I don't know if I make any sense here, but keep your acid high. You can have your residual sugar. It creates a wine with texture, layers, and complexity. And here at 8.4, which is very low, but not very low, which is significantly lower than you can think at 8.4 with bright acid. So this wine feels tropical in the mouth, but not sweet. So outstanding Riesling. So that's my point here. I wanted to discuss a little bit the RS. And I remember at the beginning, Mira, you remember we had that conversation about RS so many times. Carl, members want to know their RS, and I keep saying this is misleading. This is misleading. And I think our members now came to the conclusion that asking, just like we had yesterday, couple members just messengering me, hey Carl, I knew the RS is at 8.4, but compared to this one and this wine, how's the lunescence feels? And I'm like, here you go. That's the way to ask the question, not what's the RS, right?
It's true. It's true. It's all about the mouthfeel, and that's why we like when we had a couple wineries correcting Carl. They're like, "Oh, this wine isn't dry; it's off dry." He's like, "Yeah, but it tastes dry,
That's
right?
it.
We go by how it tastes, not by numbers necessarily, because the numbers don't always tell you how it shows up." Vicky, so nice to see you. So nice to see you. And Carl, are you pro acid then? Because Daryl's saying you heard it here first. Carl is pro acid.
Hey.
Balanced. That's all he's saying. Sugar, acid, balanced.
Yeah, exactly. I'm pro balance. I like the. I've been seeing it all along. I love different style of wine. Am I pro? I want acid in all my wine. I'm not a fan of flabby wine.
Well,
I
that's
like
the acid makes it not flabby, makes it vibrant, makes it
lift. It
where
lifts.
yeah, and the ageability, right?
Absolutely. 100%. 100%. So, I mean, am I pro acid? Fucking right I am. Absolutely. But am I also pro oak? Fucking right I'm pro oak. I love my barrel aged. I love my barrel fermented. I love new oak. I mean, one doesn't prevent the other, right? Am I pro tannin? Yeah, I am. I love my wine feisty. Like I mean, like these kind of things that I all bring a different aspect on each and every one. But yes, I'm pro acid.
There you go. And so is Daryl, turns out. So it's a good thing.
Ah, Darren and I can get like yeah. I mean, we
So
have
totally. So hey, let's recap the Lunessence feature that's happening this week because they've given us 9 different wines to choose from, 3 or 4 of which are not available anywhere else.
yeah.
Right?
You're right.
They're library releases, wine club onlys, or pre-releases that literally no one has tasted or had access to yet ever. And they're all fantastic wines, like really great wines. And actually, like we featured Lunessence a couple times in the club. It's been a few years since we featured them last. And I'm pretty sure like we tasted through these wines with you guys as well live last Wednesday, and I'm pretty sure these are some of the best wines we've had from Lunessence to date. We're super impressed. Hey, Carl?
I mean, the Riesling, the ESV Riesling, the small lot Chardonnay. These are all wines that I always love. Also, the Riesling Bubbly was one of my favorite. Unfortunately, they were sold out, so I couldn't include the Riesling. But when I tasted with Cameron up at the tasting room while Mira was somewhere else, very far away.
Yeah.
Uh, that Riesling hit the chord so well that I made the decision to not feature the Riesling bubbly because I had so much to choose from. I'm like, okay, which of the Riesling? And even if the Riesling sparkling was one of my favorite throughout the years, I went with this one because I'm like, you know what? That 2023 Riesling, I wouldn't be surprised. The Wine Align scores is going to come out very, very soon. If they have submit this one at Wine Align competition, I cannot wait to see how it's going to score. That's one of the wine that I say keep an eye on. So that's why. But over the years, Lunessence produced some great wine. But that level of reds, that's I think it's on the red side that really knocked my socks off. Back
True.
in the day, I would say in my book, Lunessence was known for their white and rosés.
And kind of the more how shall we say this? Like sort of the lighter reds, like the more
Yeah,
elegant reds.
exactly. They've been sourcing from down south for a while, but I mean, that's not what I was really looking for. But when I tasted that Cab Franc and the Petit Verdot, I'm like, holy shit, what just changed there? I mean, I remember tasting a very good Merlot back in the day, but
Yeah,
in terms of like of that, I'm like, wow, okay, this is outstanding.
true.
So to recap, we have the two uh, crafted in BC wines. So we have the Albarino from the Columbia Valley, which is in the bonus pick. And we have in the discovery pack, we have the Pinot Noir from Oregon. So we got Shannon Mountain Pinot Noir Rosé, which I give 90 plus points on this beautiful summer pink that I really, really, really enjoy. So we got this one to start. We have the Pinot Blanc Semillon that I give 92, and we have the Riesling at 93. So the three white but cold, I call it the cold wine, Rosé, Riesling, and Pinot Blanc Semillon. It's 90 plus 92 and 93 points.
This is spectacular.
Pretty
And
darn freaking good.
wow factor, which is the wine over, what do we call that? The wine
The wow
over
factor, wine over worth.
worth. So like the score versus the price point, good value there. We should do the little calculation. I'll ask ChatGPT to calculate it for us.
Yeah. Maybe that can be part of our email tomorrow as well. The wine over worth for the. I mean, these wines are a little bit more expensive in the sense that it's a tiny producer up in the hill on the Summerland Bench. I mean, we can't expect Burnt Ship Bay or 13th Street type of pricing. You just can't.
Super small batch, boutique, premium, and really well done wines, and just very special and worth cellaring. Um,
Absolutely. So, I mean, we
so,
can't compare these these
and it does sound like they used to make an oaked Chardonnay that Daryl really misses. So
That's a small lot. The small lot Chardonnay is more new oak than the estate one. Sorry. But the small lot was not available uh, for the for the feature for availability purposes. So I couldn't get. You cannot always get everything you want, especially when a producer produces such a little, so little. Uh,
yeah.
yeah,
Sue Ann's was stunning. Daryl, I assume you're meaning the Cab Franc, the Chestnut Tree Cab Franc, which which I agree with you. And it's fabulous to hear that fellow converted Cab Franc lover. Because you know, I was like you, Daryl. Like I wasn't a big fan of Cab Franc at first. Okay, right? So it's just experiencing things like Sue Ann's Chestnut Tree Cab Franc made me go, wait a second, maybe I shouldn't write off this varietal, right? It's just
Yep.
not fair to. It's not fair to be so judgmental of the varietals. You know, you got to love them all. That's my take on it. Guess what? Stacy and Jeff, with all this Riesling talk, just opened the Tightrope 2014 Riesling from BC here, from the Niagara.
Wow. That's her analysis of the wine. I mean, Stacy, they had literally 15 bottles of that 2014 left. They gave us 12, and Lindsay, the owner winemaker, came in front of me and grabbed the last two and said, I'm taking these ones home. And she told the wine club, the tasting room manager, there's none left. Literally, 12 of the 14 last bottles in their inventory existing was gone to Carl's Wine Club members across the country. That 2014 Riesling is a rarity. Like there's none left. So it's pretty cool.
Yes, very cool, very cool.
I think we should do another box like that of the rare BC
Yeah,
wine that we did. That was
so
pretty cool. That was pretty cool. And glad to see that we have one of these bottle open live with us like that. That's pretty
that's
cool.
very cool. Yeah, so basically, what Carl did, because he's Carl Boucher, he chatted up a bunch of winemakers that we know and said, I know there's a case or two of some very special wine that you guys are holding on to for something. Or maybe like what sometimes happens is they get like a case or two sent back from a liquor store or something like that, or a restaurant that's like, oh, we have this and we don't need it anymore. And so you guys, if you want to give us the money back, we'll send it to you. And they'll end up with like a case of this stunning vintage that's been sold out for years, or they'll be holding back a case or two for something special. And anyway, if you get someone like Carl to sweet talk them, they will give up a case or two of that very special wine, like that 2014 Riesling, which I'm pretty sure won awards, and like no one else can get their hands on something like that.
Yeah, and I mean, like when you have such an incredible viticulturist like Graham O'Rourke and
Mm.
Lindsay as a winemaker from a stunning Riesling vineyard on the Naramata Bench, and you give that wine 10 years of age, doesn't fucking matter if you won an award back then or not. These wines has a pretty good chance to be so freaking spectacular.
Yeah.
And yeah, that's exactly what happened with that.
1% of wine lovers will still have that in their cellar because, especially 10 years ago, everyone thought of BC wine as like a drink now kind of thing, right?
Yep,
I didn't really think
absolutely.
of it as age worthy kind of thing. So people weren't stocking up for their cellar, they were stocking up for like the weekend. Daryl saying they're hitting Lake Erie North Shore with the usual suspects August long weekend. Oh my gosh. Oh my gosh. If it wasn't my birthday weekend, I would say we would be hopping on a plane to meet you guys, but it is my birthday weekend and I hear there's some kind of lobster plan. So
we told you to be home and be ready. There's some people coming over.
Lobster, butter, Amish butter, hopefully. Chardonnay. I mean, what amazing. So
and good company.
Good company. I can't wait. I can't wait. So we can't be in Lens that weekend, but we want to know all about your trip. That sounds amazing. And hopefully you get to see Melissa Mouchadre, who was at
Of course they will. Okay,
Yes.
now Mira, we need to wrap that up with the red selection because we're gonna have to go soon to Black Market. So the red we have a Gamay, a Cab Franc, and a Petit Verdot. That's our 3 single varietal red into the Discovery Pack. 91, 92, and 93 plus. Okay. Let that sink for a second or two. We have 90 plus, 92, 93 for the whites or rosé, and you have 91, 92, and 93 plus for the reds. That's your Discovery Pack right there. You have a Petit Verdot, you have a Cab Franc, and you have a Gamay. So this pack is stacked. Absolutely freaking stacked. And yeah, I didn't expect that. Like as much as I love Lunessence, I just didn't expect a pack that stacked with score and freaking awesomeness. So here we go, and we have the 3 bonus option: Estate Vineyard Chardonnay, Estate Vineyard Pinot Noir, and the Albarino from the Columbia Valley. So yeah, amazing, outstanding freaking pack of wines from a small, tiny Summerland producer. And that's what we have this week. It's going to run until the end of the weekend, maybe Monday or Tuesday. But Mira has an amazing smile right up there. So I don't know what's happening.
You see what happened? You got to see what happened. Daryl said this. Daryl said, lobster in Paris. That's where the smile comes from. Oh, my dear Lord, yes, on the lobster in Paris, I said. What a phenomenal idea. So for those of you that aren't aware, we are going to Burgundy.
As long as it's not the ladies' night. Whoa. Now
So
I'm going to have to put my foot down.
Out the invite to each of you. If you haven't gotten it yet and you're curious about the Burgundy trip, we would love to chat with you about it, see if there's a good fit. We're only doing about 24 people with us to Burgundy. We're going
12 couples.
Well, singles, I don't really care. It's just there's only so many rooms in the chateau. And so we're going to go to Burgundy for a once in a lifetime epic bucket list type of trip. And here's the thing we've learned from Carl helping, take huge groups to Asia and the Caribbean, and us running all sorts of things around the world for fun retreats and get-togethers and things. When you're in a group, what we've learned is that you can get some pretty epic experiences that you can't get when you're just going as a couple or on your own. So you can get some behind the scenes kind of stuff. You can shut down a whole art gallery in Paris and serve lobster. And you can bring Canadian wines with you and taste them with winemakers side by side, the Burgundian wines, things like that. So you can rent a chateau with all these people in the group with you. You can have a chauffeur and a chef and do al fresco dinners in the vineyards, things like that. So, you can taste really stinky, phenomenal cheeses, Vicky. Uh, so yeah, things like that. So we're
You
going.
know, guys, let's pause it. Let's pause it. This afternoon, I was on a walk with my wife, which happened, it's my business partner, and was talking about this epic trip. And I said, we're talking about doing things that we love and what's so amazing. And I said, hey, babe, we are just entering a phase where we're planning the most epic trip ever. And she's like, yeah, I'm so excited. And I said, you know what? I'm gonna let you plan the cheesery part of it. My business partner had sparks in her eyes, had a smile on her face that I haven't seen in a long time. That expressive. So Mira's in charge of planning the cheese part of the trip, guys.
The press duck. Oh my god, you guys, I'm melting here. The press duck. Okay, so maybe the ladies' night out involves lobster, and the boys' night out involves DRC. No, I think the DRC. If we're gonna open a Domaine Romane Conti, which starts at 6 grand a bottle or something, I think it's got to be all of us. There's got to be two bottles involved. I don't know, unless there's only like one bottle available. But
I
even
mean,
then,
I can get like there's not all DRC are $6,000 a bottle. There's
oh,
different DRC with from different vineyards, so I can get the maybe not the Richebourg, but um, and I would say maybe the Saint Vivant Chardonnay. I can get that for maybe $750, maybe a bottle. Maybe. So I will start my shopping on the DRC part. But I'm telling you, Mira, if you want the ladies to be involved on the DRC tasting, the men are going to be involved in the lobster thing. And like I mean, you
okay,
have to give.
I'm
You
cool
have
with
to
that.
give
I'm
some.
fine
You
with
have
that.
to give. You have to give.
It's a fabulous compromise. I love that. But yeah, I mean, I will share the lobster joy with all. Do you think that we can bring Canadian cheese along? That might be something. Some fresh cheese curds. The problem with cheese curds, you guys, the Quebec ones, they can't be refrigerated. They last 3 days after they're made, and they can't be
The
refrigerated.
French are too fucking dumb to understand the cheese curd part. Okay, I don't even want to start arguing with these French people about cheese curd. They are driving me up the wall in that conversation. They think it's all leftover and not good. Anyway, so no, I'm not starting that. I'm gonna get mad to a French person, and I'm gonna have to let Daryl do stuff. No, no. That's not. It's not good. It's not good.
Yeah,
Tabarnak.
yes, it's epic. So, um, here's the thing: we will go. We will share all this for everyone. If you
Well,
think that the
by the way, the trip is half sold.
yeah, if you think that the timing might work for you, it is not an inexpensive trip, but also compared to a lot of the other trips out there, like Wine Enthusiast is doing a trip where it's something like 7,500 US per person,
It's 8,000 US a person.
which is more than this. So, considering it's epic, it's once in a lifetime bucket list kind of thing. If this is something that might work out timing wise for you, we want to chat with you. And we're looking at June.
June
4th.
4th to this to the 12th, 4th to the 11th. Arriving in Paris, our first night in Paris is on June 4th.
Yeah, 4th to 11th. Right. So it's 7. Anyway, we'll get you all the details. So if you're curious, let us know. And yeah,
Jump on a call with us. There's it's half sold as we speak. So we have 6 more couples to on board. We already have 2 more phone calls scheduled for the next couple days. But yeah, it's the Carl's Wine Club next phase. It's Carl's Wine Club International. Every year we're gonna take you. We're gonna do a trip on the international stage with always with the focus on Canadian wines. That's the twist here. We're not only going to Burgundy, we are going into the house of the where Pinot Noir and Chardonnay were born with our Pinot Noir and Chardonnay, with our very best Pinot Noir and Chardonnay. We're gonna go taste Merceau, and we're gonna taste the Merceau producers, Thomas Batchelder and Hidden Bench and Richard De Silva. So that's the freaking cool part of that twist of Carl's Wine Club. And we always, and for the people who've been to our event, who've been to the Pan Canadian with us, and the tasting around it, these experience like going into the 17th century chateau with a cave, a 4.5 kilometer cave at the Chateau Bone, and have a walk and pull like in there. We're gonna do barrel making visit. We're gonna go to Fevely Winery, which is one of the most iconic winery in Nuit Saint Georges. We're gonna be hosted by the Favely family. So I mean, there is so much in 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 coming up, guys. You will not believe you when you get there.
so here's the thing, we will report back better than we've ever done before because we will get much better at filming this kind of stuff. So we will report back, and then that way, at least if you can't make these dates or you can't make this work this time around, you will know exactly where to go when you're doing this kind of trip in the future, if you ever want to go to Burgundy. But you'll also know what Canadian wine is like tasted side by side some of these iconic international wines from Burgundy. So yeah, we'll
And it start with something. Sorry to interrupt, Mira, but on the Saturday after our Leaning Post party, I'm planning an introduction of our Burgundy trip. So we are planning a Burgundy versus Canada mashup. Right on the Saturday, we're going to do an epic tasting of 12 wines, 6 Burgundy alongside of 6 Canadian Chardonnay Pinot Noir. We're going to do that. Venue to be determined. Mira's going to we're going to find some outstanding pairings to do with that, but we're going to do, it's a teaser of our Burgundy trip where we do Burgundy alongside Canada, right live in Niagara the day after uh, our Leaning Post party on August 21st to August 22nd. So that's mean August 23rd, basically. Yeah, that's in
totally.
the full.
There you go. So, interesting news from Tracy. DRC has opened a restaurant recently.
Oh,
Very cool.
jeez, darn it! I'd have to increase the price of the trip.
And August 27th, 22nd event at Leaning Post. If you haven't seen that, if you're going to be anywhere near Niagara or thinking about going to Niagara, that's a great weekend to go. We will very soon have a date for our BC Winer of the Year, which is Maverick in near Oliver. We will do something special there to celebrate as well. Jim's saying, well, that sounds like a good Saturday. Yes, August 20th. Good Saturday.
23rd. 23rd.
Oh, so August 22nd is a Friday night?
Yeah, August 22nd is a Friday night at Leaning Post, and the Saturday will be the Burgundy face off.
Okay, very cool. In the works, in the works.
So Thomas doesn't know yet, but I want to ask Thomas to host it at the Bad Cave. That would be freaking epic.
we'll see. Yeah, we'll see. Yeah, yeah.
How epic would that be?
Well, definitely having Thomas as part of it would be epic. Definitely. Venue wise, we got to make sure, like how many people and if it makes sense and all that kind of thing. August 22nd, I'm imagining we need something air conditioned and all that kind of stuff. So we can't be outside necessarily.
No, oh, for the Burgundy Canada mashup. Oh, we need to be inside.
Yeah, yeah. So yeah, we'll have to see if we can seat that many people in the Bat Cave comfortably. But it would be amazing if Thomas is willing to be part of it, and hopefully maybe one or two other personalities from Niagara that have really put Niagara and Canadian wines on the map, especially when it comes to Pinot Noir and Chardonnay. You know,
Absolutely.
yeah, sounds amazing. Well, you guys, we got to go to this concert at Black Market. We might jump on the live if the signal is strong enough from that winery, and show you guys what they're up to tonight. It's going to be a really cool concert and some great wines, and I think maybe some cool sneak previews of what they've got coming up at Black Market, one of our member favorite wineries. So, yeah, hopefully we'll see you guys a little bit later, just impromptu, just kind of, hey, we're here at the concert and maybe sipping some sneak previews from Black Market. We'll see. But Lunessence is on till Sunday night.
Well, maybe Monday.
Fantastic wines. Yeah, a lot of members will reach out and be like, I'm not putting in my order till Monday, and we'll let the winery know, and they'll batch all our stuff and start sending it Monday, but can hang on a little bit for you. But yeah, really, really great wines from Lunessence. We're super thrilled. And Carl Boucher, happy Wine Wednesday, right?
Canadian wine lovers, Carl's Wine Club members, Mira Boucher.
Carl Boucher.
See you next time.
See you soon.
Oh, see you later.
Right.